Let's say you're in the market for a surfboard, particularly a soft top, but you're tired of buying sponges in the water with zero performance. Then think I've found just the board for you, but with some potential downsides that I'll go over later in this video. Today we will be reviewing Softech's the Middie surfboard, but first let's get to the board specs. This board is 5 feet, 10 inches tall, 20 inches wide, 2 1/4 inches thick, and 28.5 liters in volume. It features FCS2 fin boxes and a beautiful design on the deck's bottom. For the rocker, it's a low medium by the nose and low rocker near the tail, with a continuous rocker spanning the board. For bottom contours, it's flat by the nose, goes into a super small single, then a tiny V in the middle of the board. It transitions to a double concave near the 3/4 mark and has a V near the last fin box, then flat by the tail. This board has an epoxy board as the core that's glassed, but to the touch, the board is soft from top to bottom. If you give it a tap, you do feel the beefy, firmer interior. I'd ultimately still consider this a soft top in comparison to the Paizel line of fun Foreman's boards. The rails feature a 60/40 down rail, with the wide outline, good amount of volume in the chest section, and a thinner rail in the tail. There is one thing I don't like about the rails, which we will discuss as we get within the main categories. For paddle and wave entry, I gave it a 9. One of the best features of this board, tons of foam in the front made paddling and wave entry super easy. The ample rocker in the board's nose and tail did make me a little concerned about how it would paddle, but it exceeded my expectations, and the wide outline allows for a lot of planing for the wave entry. For maneuverability, I gave it an 8.5. Given the super rounded and wide outline, I was actually surprised with how the board performed. I was expecting a fair amount of bogging in the rails, but the continuous rocker was a good choice in this board. If you are an intermediate or advanced surfer, I do think you'd be able to whip this board around more too. For speed and drive, I gave it a 9. I tend to surf softer, smaller waves, but the board still felt like it had great projection and was surprised with the speed I got out of the Middie. For trim, I gave it a 7.75, probably the board's lowest point, but not bad by any means. However, the board does have moments while in trim where you can feel the board almost do like micro skips. It's super subtle and more prominent if you're surfing slightly bigger waves or waves with more power. For durability, I gave it a 6.5. When I bought this board, right after I took it out of the plastic, it already had some scuffs on the tail. And after the first few weeks of riding, I already did notice some impressions and lines in the foam near the back of the board, which makes me question long-term durability of this board. It does come with free, super soft fins, great maybe for surfing shallow beach breaks, or for beginners, but just tried one fin setup on this, which is similar to the MR Twin Plus trailer, and this was the fin setup which felt like it did no wrong. It was fast, drivey, had speed and maneuverability, so I didn't feel the need to change it yet. I would probably change it to a thruster if anything, for bigger, beefy nugget waves though. Was really pleased with this board, especially going into it thinking that it wasn't going to perform well as a soft top, and that it might catch a lot in turning with the rails, but even with the super wide outline and elevated rocker, it was a good choice in this board. For overall fun factor, I gave it a 9.25. I actually enjoyed the flex pattern too when you pump and maneuver the board more than some of the other boards that I've been riding, like the Volcanic Mashup and the Helium Dominator 2. Overall, a super fun board at a solid price point. I think I paid around $470 for mine, which is really reasonably priced for what you're getting. This is probably the best softboard that I've tried to this date, and I have tried several.